It's Shannon.
Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon Live.
It's Shannon.
Because you don't know how it's going to turn out.
It's Shannon. It's Shannon.
My kids empowered me to get out.
What's going on with this remote learning in the midst of COVID?
Working for different elected officials, learning and understanding how to put the community first.
Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon. Hello, ladies. How y'all doing?
Hi,
I'm
hello.
fine.
Happy Thoughtful Tuesday.
Well, we
Yes.
want to thank our audience for joining us again this week. Last week, we got good feedback on our topic, Reinventing the Minds with New Energy. And we're back tonight for part 2. And we want to deal with our children tonight. So we're going to bring back our special guest again, Miss Kara Nelson. And we're going to introduce her at this time.
Absolutely. Our special guest is Miss Carol Nelson. She earned her bachelor's degree from Syracuse University and master's of science degree from Teachers College at Columbia University. She studied access energy for transformation with its founder, Gary Douglas, for over 6 years to learn how to release layers of negative thoughts and emotions to help others do the same. She has been a speech and language pathologist for 35 years and a clairsentient energy healer for 25 years. Her mission is to help entrepreneurs and other people ready to reinvent themselves, make massive change in their attitudes, outlook, and expectations by letting go of decades of mind sabotages like overwhelm, regret, and guilt. She spent most of her childhood and early adulthood with undiagnosed depression, and when therapy did not work for her, she discovered these specific mind mastery techniques through trial and error that changed her life forever. So let's welcome our special guest again for part 2 this week, Miss Carol Nelson.
Hello there, Kara.
Hello, everybody. How are you all doing?
Great.
Yes,
How are you?
great. Well, we're glad to have you back this week. Last week, you was talking about the adults reinventing their minds through new energy. We got good feedback from part 1. So tonight is reinventing the children's mind with new energy because, a lot of our kids get steered the wrong way. And if we don't start while they're young, I mean, even though sometimes we start when they're young, but even when they get older, they still do things they're not supposed to be doing. But I feel like if we do start when they're young, at least even if they stray, they know their way back because of what we have instilled in our kids. And sometimes we don't take time to pay attention to the kids' mindset, and their minds are just everywhere. So tonight, hopefully we can, talk about that a little bit with our children, reinventing their mindsets.
Absolutely. Well, this is
Wow.
near and dear to my heart because I've been working with children of all intellectual levels, cultural backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, and learning and language abilities that they taught me how to work with them, even the ones that couldn't speak, because I had to listen, and I even had to listen to silence and look at their behaviors. And they were all speaking the same language, and they all were wanting what we want as adults, and many of the things that I wanted as a child that maybe I didn't get. And so I decided to write up some things that this experience has taught me, and I hope I don't start crying.
No.
Because they're so little, and it's sometimes easy to put them aside by the wayside. And anyway, number 1 is exercise. Exercise has so many health benefits for us as adults, but it has great benefits for children, and they don't need the exercise that we need. They just need to be free to run around a little bit, play tag. As they get older, they might want to dance around the house or play sports. Of course, safely. They're not going to throw the balls in the house, but wherever you could make it happen. If you have money, enroll them in something. If you don't, let them run around. Let them be free to be the children that they are. I found this at kidshealth.org. What happens when they get exercise? They sleep better. When you sleep better, don't you have a better attitude when you sleep, when you get a good night's sleep?
Absolutely.
And this improves their school performance. And they have a better outlook on life because of this. It lowers their chance of being depressed, being able to exercise and move around. And it helps them to handle physical and emotional stress better. For example, if they're late for the bus and they have to run for the bus, they've been physically exercising. They're able to run to the bus, right? When it's time to study for a test, they've been busy exercising. It's easy to now quiet down and study for a test. Okay? So I love exercise. It's a great thing to encourage just movement from young, and it'll be a lifelong skill as they get older to help them enjoy their life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Number two, I really love. I was a big fan of so many of our spiritual leaders now. One of them was Deepak Chopra. I used to love his books. And about 20 years ago, I went on a retreat with him. And just recently, I heard him saying, this is what I did with my children. When they were one, I had them be quiet for 1 minute. So quiet time would be number two for me. As a something to instill or teach the children or encourage the children to do. So one is exercise, two is having quiet time. Deepak Chopra said when they were 2, he had them be quiet for 2 minutes. And when they were 3, they were quiet for 3 minutes. By the time they became teenagers, it was very easy for them to be quiet, and they were able to value being quiet. And what does that do? What does quiet time do? Quiet time, because children are growing so quickly, and they're changing so much from day to day, and they're being stimulated by so much from the outside environment. Quiet time allows them to just be with the information and process it and integrate it a little bit better so that they could learn more deeply. It improves learning. It improves how they can manage their lives. They can manage boredom better. They learn how to be creative. They learn how to appreciate this moment. We call that mindfulness right now. But they learn how to appreciate the moment without having to have fireworks and, all these things going on. Sometimes
Entertainment.
Noisy. And just teaching them how to be quiet with themselves is a beautiful gift to give them. And it's a lifelong skill. It also teaches them how to soothe themselves. So that they're not looking for other things outside of themselves to soothe.
To do it.
Self-discipline.
Yes.
Yep.
Beautiful. So that would be 2. 3 would be, this is near and dear to my heart as a therapist, and I've heard a lot of language coming from a lot of different people as they talk to the children. And it is a society. We do live in a society where sometimes we give more attention to what's negative. There's a car crash. Of course, you're going to look, right? With our children, it's really good if we could notice and point out when they're doing something that you appreciate. Notice, take the time to notice and tell them, especially when they've had the best of intentions, because children are going to spill things, drop things. But what were they intending to do? They were intending to give it to you. They weren't intending to drop it. Be kind to them and look at their intentions. And go beyond how cute they are. Children are very cute. Oh, you're so, and that's nice too. They could show you their dress. Oh, look how pretty I am. Look how cute your boots are. Go beyond that and compliment their behavior. Compliment their intentions. That's going to go a long way. It will help them to value it and want to do that more. When you compliment, oh, thank you for giving the apple to Grandpa. Thanks for throwing that in the garbage for me. Thanks for closing the door. You remembered to close the door.
Well, I think I agree with you in that sense about praising the kids. Really, not only when they really do something, but just praise them anyway. Like when you talk to them, give them that confidence, especially if they're having a hard time with something that they have to do and they don't understand it or whatever, to reassure them that you can do it and take that word out of their mouth that you can't do something, and teach them to be confident that if they work hard at it, they can get it and understand what it is. and they would get done what needs to be done rather than standing around whining and talking about what they can't do. If you constantly put that in their head, I think that's a good thing when you constantly say to the child, you can do it. You can do it. If you work hard, you can do it, because they have to
Absolutely.
know as they are growing up,
Right.
becoming adults, that nothing doesn't come easy. You have to work
Absolutely.
for it.
Right.
Yes.
And they can understand that at
It's true.
9, 10, and 11 years old. Even them little 5 and 6 years
Absolutely.
Yeah.
understand what they're doing. Now, don't underestimate these little kids now.
Absolutely.
They become designers. There was a little boy this morning on TV, 6 years
Mhm.
old. He a designer making dresses and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So don't underestimate these kids about what they can do, but
Right.
you
Yes.
have to put it in them
Yes.
that they can
Right.
do it and not
But
beat them down
Mhm.
negatively.
Right.
Negative
Right.
words
But you
and
know what, too? But you know what, too, Lila, to echo that and to add to it, it's all in good when we are praising kids when they're doing good things, but when they're also doing bad things, let them know that it's
Exactly.
okay. Let them know it's
Right.
okay. There's nobody's
To make a
perfect,
mistake.
because because when parents held kids accountable for things, everything has to be perfect, cross the T's and dot the I. It creates a psychological imbalance for them. So then when
Yeah.
things are out of order, it takes them to a different level of disappointment, negative, and their mind starts shifting. So this is where you find a lot of kids, that younger kids has a suicidal mind, because they have not held up to certain standards that has been required of them. So it's equally important to also recognize the things that they do wrong or make mistakes, and let them know it's okay.
Right.
Give them the courage and the energy to understand the mistake in order to correct it as well.
Yeah.
Right.
You explain. My thing is you explain it to them when even if you tell them to do something wrong, you have to explain it to them why they are doing it and what the outcome is going to be. I mean, I
Absolutely.
do that to my granddaughter. I tell her stuff that I know she's not supposed to be doing, particularly when it comes to school and class, because see, I'm not going to have no bullying. That's out of the question. You're not bullying
Right,
my child in
right.
school. So I'll tell my granddaughter right quick, if they mess with you, once the hand hits you, it's on and popping. And if the teacher say no, I tell her, I say, when the teacher comes over and say something to you, you tell them that your grandma told you to hit them. So that way the teacher will call me and I will deal with the teacher or whatever. But you are not going to stand there and
Absolutely.
let somebody beat you.
Beat on
That's
you.
not happening.
Mhm.
And if you
Absolutely.
don't do it, then I'm going to have to come up to the school and deal
The
with you.
appropriate terminology or phrase is, I told my granddaughter to defend herself.
Okay, then thank you, Allison, for putting it in the right term. We'll be right back with more of a guest, Miss Karen.
It's Shannon. It's Shannon.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu. And especially this year, no one has time to get sick. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Hi, we are back with our special guest, Miss Karen Nexon. We was talking about reinventing our children's mind with new energy. I mean, I don't get me wrong now, before we went to break, I was telling you about, how I tell my granddaughter how
To defend herself.
So I'm not saying for kids to go out there and do bad things or whatever.
Right.
But the only reason I say that is because I have seen so many kids in school being bullying, and those kids turn to depression. And then the next thing you know, they want to commit suicide and stuff
Right.
like that. And that's why a lot of this suicide in school is going on with the anti-bullying, because nothing is done about it in school like it should be taken care of. That's the only
Absolutely.
reason, I say things about, you have to teach your kids that like 2-3 times when it happens. If nothing is done about it, then hey, you got to defend yourself or whatever it takes,
Swing
to do
for the
what you have to do
fences.
and everything. Because
Yeah.
we don't want our kids to go into depression. We don't want them to be depressed, because then
Right.
the behavior changes,
Yes.
and they
They
go
come
out and
withdrawing.
do
Mhm.
something they're
Right.
not supposed to be doing.
Right. Right.
It's
And
like
also
little,
too, and
Mhm.
also too, even if they don't, if they survive childhood going through those things, they become adults, and they become adults that have these kind of great issues that they don't know how to necessarily navigate through. And then they not only become maybe, a danger to themselves, they become dangerous to other people as well. And they're sometimes not able to really kind of distinguish, what's a situation that I need to really, navigate through, or how do I best navigate through it?
But
It
you know, a
sets
lot
the
of people,
tone.
Yeah.
absolutely. And to add to that, Allison, a lot of kids, they may not know that there's something different. They may not know it's depression. A lot of
Right,
kids are undiagnosed. So when they grow into their adulthood, they don't know how to differentiate what's reality and what's not based on how
right,
they're feeling. So this is another challenging problem. And to get back to a lot of these bullying, a lot of things that are happening in school, they tend to be more reactive than proactive. So when
right.
things are really being told, they just brush, throw it under the table, throw it under the rug,
absolutely.
and it's not a big problem. It's not an issue. But then when something happens to the extreme of a young child bringing a gun or a weapon to school, and then somebody
Right,
now gets hurt, now everybody wants to. It's that shit moment, right? Like we got to do
right,
something.
Right.
It's imperative now. We got to do something. We got to change policies. We got to implement, and then why
Right.
not be why not be proactive?
Right.
Why
right.
we always have to wait?
Right.
End result.
And so,
When
and
someone
also,
gets
Karen, too, I would like for you to speak more as when you was talking about, I think it was, well, I don't know which one it said about being diagnosed. See,
Mhm,
we have to pay attention to our children from the day they born.
Mm-hmm.
And if
mhm,
you see strange things about them, or they not developing like they supposed to be developing, or speaking like they supposed to be speaking, or vocabulary not the way it's supposed to be, we need to step in and do something about it at that time. But see, we have this thing about they're gonna grow out of it. They're gonna grow out of it. They're not growing out of anything because you're not paying
addressing
attention
it.
to how the child's supposed to be developing. You can't be afraid and don't worry about who talks about it or who cares, or your child is this. No, you don't worry about that. You get the help for your child that needs help.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's
Mhm,
one of the things here. If they need help, because the longer you wait, the bigger that gap is.
absolutely.
Regardless of if they need counseling, get them counseling. But sometimes it's the family dynamics. They're not aware. Maybe there's so much stuff going on in the house. They're just getting by with making sure there's food on the table
Absolutely.
and bills are being paid, that the child's feelings are sometimes so put to the side, and
Right.
and then until they have a gun. But
Right.
I do, so that's why so it's very important for children to feel that they have support. Not that everything is done for them, but that they have support to avoid these things.
Mm.
Somebody that they could talk to and somebody that will hear them. It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
want to go
mhm.
ahead. Mhm.
No. I just wanted to piggyback on something we spoke behind
Oh,
stage. I just
sorry.
so just let you, continue with your lists in what cases,
Oh,
so we can
okay. Sorry
Mhm.
about that sound.
Okay.
Um, so it's really good, and this happened to me because I work with children that weren't always speaking at level. They weren't always developing at level. When children speak, listen to their content, and don't always feel you have to correct them.
Mhm.
If they say they is at the store, don't say they are at the store with an attitude. If you want to correct them, fine, you can correct it as you speak to them. Oh, you're saying they are at the store? Okay. Listen to them. Let them express themselves. It's very important, because when you keep stopping them or giving them this judgmental energy, it puts them in a box, and or
Mhm.
that could start boiling. Let them express. Let them let what's inside out without having to judge. It's okay to teach, but teach in love if you can. And sometimes as adults, we need to breathe. That's probably one of the biggest gifts that you can give a child, is to learn how to breathe when you're waiting for them to do something that you want them to do more quickly or more perfectly or differently. You breathe. Just take a moment and breathe. This is a moment for me to calm down, for me to be good within me.
I'm
Just
on timeout.
as you watch them do what they need to do, let them tie their shoes, let them do their homework. Stop writing the answer because you get tired of them thinking, oh, what is it? What is it? And look for ways and their projects too, where everything has to be perfect and colored in the line. Let them color outside the lines, and look at how proud they are. And if they need help, teach them to ask for help. Empower them with that.
You're going
Now,
against my Caribbean upbringing.
when you say express, let them express themselves. Okay, so we let them express themselves, but how do you feel about disciplining kids when they express themselves in the wrong way? You know,
well that's a judgment. When you say wrong, what do you mean?
No,
by
I'm just
that?
saying people talk about some people believe in beating the kids, and some people say, oh, well, you're not supposed to beat the kids, you know, you're not supposed to do that, you know. So I mean, I'm just asking you as a therapist your opinion. How should a kid be disciplined?
I'm not a psychotherapist, but
beating is not abuse. Abuse is abuse.
I was not raised with beatings. Yes, did I get spankings? I do remember 2 very significant spankings in my life, but I just wasn't raised that way. Even though my mother was from the South, she believed in either just putting us in the room or talking to us. Well, not much talking, but she didn't believe in hitting. That was not something that she wanted to do. So because I'm a therapist working in the school system, do you think I can go around just hitting everybody? No. I had to learn how to bribe. No, I'm only kidding. I had to learn. Sometimes you do have to have a potato chip or two.
No, well, I mean, you laughing, but we see a lot of that going on today, bribing kids to be quiet or bribing kids.
I'm bribing my son with a belt.
Now, mind you, I was working with some children that were detoxing from crack. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes if that bag of potatoes, if they could hold a bag of potato chip and walk the halls and calm down,
then let them have it.
That was just wonderful, you know.
Have 32 bags of chips.
Hi.
See, the thing about it is, well, you know what it is how you was raised. Because even now, we try to change the way we raise our kids from what we were raised. I was raised with 2 strict parents. You did what they say do or whatever.
Right.
I tried to ease up a little bit more when I had mine, is not to be as strict. But mine was based on whether I could trust you or not. If I could trust you, then I gave you more freedom. But if I felt like I couldn't trust you, you're not getting that much freedom. Because if I say be home by 6 o'clock and you be home at 5:59, then you might get a little extra half an hour the next time around. But if you can't be, you know, follow the rules, then you can't be trusted, you know.
Absolutely.
So I try to look at it in that sense.
Hey, absolutely. But you know what? We live in a revolving society today, right? So it's not old news, like it's good news, right? So we can't raise our child today with old school yesterday principles. They don't work. Right? They really don't work. It may work for some, but for the latter, it does not really work because the times are different, the resources are different, the availability of more information and more rights that they're giving kids in you know today. So you didn't find kids years ago raising their hands to their parents, cursing at their parents, sitting at the table, getting their parents, being more of a friend to their parents than a child. So these rules have changed over the years. So you cannot really be 5'5" and then you put your hands on a 15-year-old 6'2" child. And
My mother did it all the time.
Yeah, but see, I didn't.
Excuse me, Vanessa.
Wait
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
The time ain't nothing changed.
Nothing changed with the time.
No, you do not let. I don't care what have changed. You do not let your child.
But you know what I'm saying. The caveat. No, the caveat of what I'm saying. The caveat of what I'm saying.
You didn't say that before. You have to defend yourself. The caveat
of what I'm saying is that you don't always have to hit the child to get things. Of course, I didn't get beat.
No, you don't. You don't. I agree with.
Okay, I didn't have to beat up my kids. I just needed to look up them, and that was good enough.
Well, that's because that's how I was raised too. My father would turn around and look at you, and you know not even open your mouth.
Right,
you already knew that.
But you got to
I'm talking about children today who will fight their parents.
But you got kids. You have kids having kids.
Well,
My
that's
kids
different.
have
That's a fact.
I'm even talking about the older ones that's not that young kids. I'm talking about older kids do the same
Well,
thing.
you have to check it
Because
when
if
it
they
starts.
figure they can
Don't
get away
wait.
with it.
Too many children are cute or they're not responded to right away. You have to respond right away. I've been in houses where I've heard some children say some things and do
Wow,
something,
mess.
and the parents would laugh. Oh, that's cute. How do they know how to do that? Because they're
No,
watching
it's not.
you.
Exactly.
But no, I said no, but that's not cute. I said we have to respond to this now. I said you
Yes.
need to say something now, and and also sometimes we can't give too much attention to the negative behavior because when they get a lot of attention, that's the only time they get attention. And when they're being bad,
Crazy.
then
Right.
you train them to be bad. So that's why you have to give attention to them when they're doing things that you like them to do.
And
There's even therapy called, I think it's called video modeling, where when the child is doing things throughout the day that you love or that you like or that are great, take pictures, take video, and put them in a scrapbook. Have the whole family come over, watch it, or keep showing it. Just laugh and enjoy it. And when they get a lot of positive reinforcement for doing things that are wanted in the house, they will do more of that. But
right.
come on, every time a child says "dit" when they mean shit, everybody, oh, that's so cute. He said,
No, it's not.
Sorry. But let me just.
Well, yeah, it sounds cute now until when they get older, they're gonna be kicking your behind, and then it ain't cute anymore.
But that's
You know
where
what I'm
it starts. That kind of stuff doesn't just happen at 16. It does start someplace.
It starts at the 9, 10, and 12. Get out of here. Nowadays, it ain't no 16. It's early.
Younger than that. I've
Yeah.
little children hit mommies. Do we have time to finish the list, or are you going to invite me back?
No, we'll keep going. What else?
Keep going.
So just realize, as we speak, we are speaking our own script. We are the stars of our movie, but for the children, we are speaking their script when we speak to them. You're never going to be anything. You're so dumb. He doesn't know. And then we on the phone talking to our friends about, do you know he didn't even know how to do this? And then when the friends come to visit, do you know Johnny's standing right
embarrassing.
there. This child peed in front of me. And somebody they really ragged him out. This is a little boy learning how to be.
Okay, Carol, you have to tell it real fast because we got 30 seconds.
But just realize, just because they can't talk, they can hear and they feel the energy. Energy is the first language. Yes. They hear the energy of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about getting them to
We're out of time for this part of the show, and we're going to finish up in the after show. We're going to have an after show right after this. And we'll finish up the conversation. So we want to thank you for coming on for this session of part of the show. We're going to continue the conversation and have an after show that's coming right up after this segment here. So you can stay on and you can watch the after show. And we're going to continue talking about our kids. Because, when it comes to the children, it's hot. The topic gets hot. So we want to thank you for joining us now. And make sure you go to our Facebook page and like us and subscribe to the YouTube page. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Today's show is sponsored by Abu's Bakery. If you have a sweet tooth, stop by Abu's Bakery for some delicious cakes and pies.
Do you like beautiful pictures for your home or your office? Then stop by Space Plus Gallery. They have a large selection of pictures from around the world.
It's Shanna.